I think it was Eala is the match that I was looking at, and there was people like wrapped around the stadium just trying to get in, which is pretty crazy. And I mean, it's cool to see and it's exciting, but obviously, for fan experience, I don't know because I'm not living that same experience. But hopefully, the event kind of continue.
Jessica Pegula, one of the biggest names in women's tennis today, has spoken out. And this time, it has nothing to do with what happened during a match. She is publicly criticizing the WTA, and she is doing it to stand up for one of the most exciting young players in the sport right now, Alex Eala of the Philippines. If you have been following Alex Eala's journey, then you already know how important she is, not just to her country, but to tennis fans across Asia and around the world. She is more than a rising player. For many people, she represents pride, opportunity, and the rewards of discipline and hard work. The support behind her has grown quickly, and in a way that most players spend years trying to achieve. At the Australian Open, something remarkable happened. Fans traveled from the Philippines, from across Asia, and from many other parts of the world just to watch Alex Eala compete. These were not casual spectators. These were loyal supporters who booked flights, arranged hotels, and made real sacrifices to be there in person. That kind of dedication is rare. It usually takes a full career to build that level of following. But despite the huge crowd she brought to the tournament, Alex Eala was scheduled to play on a smaller court. That decision is what upset Jessica Pegula, and many people understand why. Pegula pointed out that Alex Eala drew fans from all around the globe to the Australian Open, yet when those fans arrived, ready to support her, she was not placed on one of the largest courts available. Think about that. You have one of the biggest crowd draws at the event, and her match is played in a space that cannot even hold the people who came specifically to see her. That is where the frustration started.
That we're getting and making that still an enjoyable experience for them. But I did see some of the courts have like lines getting in and it seems really busy, and I saw some reports that it's some of their busiest.
Jessica Pegula did not hold back. She described the situation as disrespectful to Alex Eala and disrespectful to the fans. When you look at what those supporters went through, it is easy to see why. People stood in long queues, hoping for a chance to get inside and watch their Filipino star compete. Many had traveled thousands of miles, but because the court was too small, some of them were left outside. Some tried to watch from a distance. Others missed the match entirely because there was simply no room. That is more than a small mistake in planning. Whether it was intentional or not, it sent a message. You do not belong on the biggest stage yet. And that message did not sit well with many in the tennis world. Pegula went even further. She shared that she had been told this was the best crowd ever seen at an Australian Open, and that much of that energy was thanks to Alex Eala. The strongest crowd in the tournament's history, and yet the player who helped create it was not given a court large enough to match that moment. Pegula questioned why Eala was not scheduled on bigger courts with more seats and more space for her supporters. So far, the WTA has not given a strong answer. She also suggested that there may be something deeper going on. Pegula hinted that perhaps the WTA is uncomfortable with what they are seeing from Alex Eala. That is a serious thought. Here is a young athlete who has built a fan base across Asia. She is bringing new viewers into the sport. She is creating excitement in regions where tennis has been trying to grow for years. That should be celebrated and encouraged. Instead, based on how things have unfolded, it seems like her impact is being overlooked. And Pegula was not the only one to speak up. Novak Djokovic, one of the greatest tennis players of all time, also addressed the situation. Djokovic called Alex Eala the greatest tennis player the Philippines has ever produced. He said she deserves full respect and agreed that the way her matches were scheduled and assigned courts contributed to the challenges she faced during the tournament. When Novak Djokovic speaks, the tennis world listens. This is not just about fan frustration. These are respected figures in the sport saying that something does not feel right.
Things like that happen. I mean, it's you could argue that it was, maybe a poor schedule, and maybe they could schedule him on a bigger court. Yes, but again, she's so young and she's just coming through. I saw the other day with Alex Eala, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines.
And here is the important part. This is not the first time questions have been raised about how Alex Eala has been treated. It is not a single incident that can be brushed off as a simple oversight. Those who have followed her path through the WTA have noticed similar moments before. During the Australian Open qualifiers, Alex Eala was involved in a crucial rally. She hit a shot that clearly landed inside the lines. The mark on the court showed it was in, yet the call came back out. That alone would have been frustrating. But instead of simply correcting the call or awarding the point properly, officials decided to replay the entire point. In tennis, that is not normal procedure. A ball is either in or out. A decision is made and stands. Points are not typically replayed because of uncertainty. Yet in this case, that is what happened. What happened next showed exactly who Alex Eala is. She did not react with anger. She walked calmly to the chair umpire, looked them directly in the eye, and firmly said, "I know what you are doing." She refused to be shaken. She refused to lose focus. She recognized the situation and then returned to play, and she still won the match. In fact, she went all the way to the finals of the Australian Open qualifiers. That is mental strength. That is resilience. There was also the incident during her match against Iga Swiatek, a multiple Grand Slam champion and one of the most dominant players on the women's tour in recent years. For a young player like Eala to share the court with Swiatek is already a major achievement. But during that match, just as Eala was gaining momentum, an official approached her about items in her backpack. In the middle of a key moment, the match was interrupted. Her rhythm was broken. The timing raised serious questions. When you put everything together, the small court assignments, the officiating controversy, the backpack incident, a pattern begins to form. And it is not a good look for the WTA. Because what it suggests is that one of the most exciting and marketable young players in the sport is not receiving the platform or respect she has earned. Jessica Pegula noticed it. Novak Djokovic noticed it. Millions of fans around the world have noticed it. Alex Eala deserves better. The fans who traveled across oceans to support her deserve better. Tennis as a sport deserves better. Alex Eala is not going anywhere. She will continue to compete, continue to improve, and continue building a career that goes beyond rankings and trophies. The real question is whether the WTA will recognize what she already represents, not just a rising star, but a true phenomenon. Now it is your turn to share your thoughts. Do you believe the WTA is intentionally overlooking Alex Eala, or is this simply poor scheduling and management? Did they make a mistake by not placing her on a larger court despite the massive crowd she brought in? And do you think Jessica Pegula and Novak Djokovic speaking out will lead to real change? Share your opinion, and if you support Alex Eala, make your voice heard.